Are we going?
Yeah.
Want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth! Welcome to the Tug and Mule Show. I'm Tug.
I'm Mule.
Before we get started, we need to read you our disclaimer.
This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local representative regarding your rights and contractual language. The opinions shared on this video are our own. They do not reflect that of our employer. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act. Thank you.
She's going to have that memorized soon.
Eventually. I'll get it.
Okay, so today's show is about the local election again. Only this time, we're going to be talking about the flyers. So, we've kind of got all the flyers that are out right now together, and Christine and I are going to discuss what's going on in these flyers and just kind of educate everybody on what's going on with the two slates and what they're talking about in the flyers. So, currently behind us, we have some of them as an example. This is K-Mac and Sam. And this is Romero and Tony. So, without further ado, we will continue.
Okay, so we have a couple here. These two. This one's about Junior Delgado. I'm sorry, Junior, I don't know who you are. I know you're with T-Force. That's all I know. This one has Veronica and Gabby, both from UPS, both I know. All these do is attack members. This doesn't give you information about the slates that are running. So I think these are just trash, personally.
Yes, these are actual very horrible flyers.
But there is something in here that I need to point out because I believe it. I've seen it, and I have proof of it because it says in this article, whatever, that there is no, these claims cannot be verified or proven. That there is retaliation for people who want to speak on V's hot seat, which we will provide links for. This right here says retaliation to me. This is, he went on Veronica's podcast to voice his opinion, and he got his name on a flyer that I guess called him a liar because that's what the big nose is for. I don't know. I don't know who's in this picture. I just know that it feels like retaliation to me. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with Christine because that whole flyer is all about just, you know, and Veronica has said repeated times on her podcast that people have called her to go on and they don't want to go on because they're afraid of retaliation. And then they put out a flyer saying that there's no proof of that and that she's lying about retaliation. And then flyers come out with her face on them and Gabby's face and Junior Delgado, who's on her podcast. So,
it's a free country, man.
Hello. You know, we have the right as members to support whoever we want and not be retaliated against and not be attacked and not have our face put on flyers or our names put on flyers. That's not the right thing to do. That's not what you do.
Oh,
so
can I preface this as well? I need to say this before we get any deeper into this. Whoever puts these flyers together, you need someone to proofread them. You need spell check. You need a grammar check. Because some of these, and I'm not saying this one in particular, all 3 pages of it, too much repeated information, stuff that doesn't, stuff that doesn't.
Tony! This is awful. Whoever did this one with Tony's face on it. It's not a complete sentence.
Okay.
You had one
Thank
job.
you. Stop. Enough. But this here says that Romero and Ramon Corona, they had a bad negotiation of a contract and poor decision making. But who's their superior? Who's their boss as a business agent?
Randy K-Mac.
Randy K-Mac. Are we sure? Let us cover this. In your bylaws.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Randy K-Mac.
A business agent and assistant business agents shall be appointed and may be removed at will only by the appointing authority. Business agents shall be subject to the supervision and direction of the principal executive officer, which is
Randy K-Mac.
good answer. Okay. So if he made such terrible decisions for many years, according to some of these flyers, different contracts, different negotiations, different situations even, where physically attacking members and biting their nose or...
That was Tony.
Oh. Excuse
Tony's the nose biter.
Then why are they employed?
Because Randy didn't fire them. So according to these flyers, they are awful. According to these flyers, Randy gave them a great opportunity and hired them as BAs, and
They didn't know what they were doing when they were hired.
none. No, they had no experience, no knowledge, no nothing. And according to these flyers, they turned into garbage. They were bad BAs, they were bad organizers, they were bad everything.
Why is
But
there a cat outside?
I have no idea. There's a cat out here. Christina's curious about it. But what do we all know? Curiosity killed the cat.
Rosemary has animals.
Rosemary has lots of animals. Rosemary needs more animals. If anybody has a Newfoundland puppy,
No.
call me.
No. Oh no. Okay.
Anything large.
Way off track.
Or a pony.
No.
Okay, moving on. It's her fault. She does it all the time. Distract the ADD person. Go ahead.
Okay, so where were we?
Okay.
We were discussing how these were such horrible...
Bad BAs. Bad organizers. Brought on by Randy. He gave them an opportunity. Never fired them. Now he hates them.
Continued to pay them.
But he's the only one who can. According to the bylaws, they work under his direction, his supervision, and he's the only one who can fire them. But now he's putting out flyers saying how horrible they are, but he's not doing anything. He didn't do anything to hold them accountable. Well, if you didn't hold them accountable for 20 some odd years, but now you want to put out a flyer telling us as members that you kept employed horrible business agents, what does that say to the members?
About you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I had to throw in my 2 cents.
Thank you.
But
I'm just saying, I mean, this is so many of the questions that we as members have.
I also have another question about all of this mess of flyers and lies or slander or whatever it is besides dirt.
Mudslinging.
Mudslinging. Okay. So all of these gentleman. It's all about the gentleman, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, they've got a
There's
couple ladies
one.
in there.
Yeah, there's one.
Okay.
Jenny.
All of these officers.
But her podcast was pretty good, so I'm not going to throw her in here. I have to give you props, Jenny. I liked your podcast.
Okay. So, in the oath of office for the officers, all of them have to swear an oath. I will at all times act solely in the interests of our members. Devote the resources of our union to furthering their needs and goals. Work to maintain a union that is free of corruption, to preserve and strengthen democratic principles in our union, and to protect the members' interests in all dealings with employers. I will never forget that it is the members who put me here, and it is the members whom I will serve. I further promise that I will faithfully comply with and enforce the Constitution and laws of the International Union and bylaws of this union, that I will at all times, by example, promote harmony and preserve the dignity of this union. I don't see this as promoting harmony and dignity in our union.
No, none of this is. From either side. Not at all.
And
no.
Just another snippet. This is all of our opinion. This is not, we're not picking a side. We're looking at the information in front of us, and we form the opinion as we see it, not anybody else's opinion. It's our opinion.
And we're not influencing anybody to pick either side either. We're just sharing what we see on this and putting the information out there and trying to educate the members to think about what they want to ask the slates that are running. Get yourself more informed on the slates that are running.
Please, when you see them out front, ask them questions. Ask them what they are going to do for your local. How are you going to bring unity? Because all of this brings division. This brings division. This makes people angry. And frankly, when I see this kind of stuff, I don't have a good thought to think about either one of you. Because if these trustees are not trustworthy and they can't be trusted, then, and that's like all of a sudden, where have you been for the last 5 years, 10 years? Why are we just now hearing that these people who sit on our executive board can't be trusted?
And what do we as members do now? Because now these guys are still sitting on the board. They're signing our books every single month. They're handling our fiduciary money. And they can't be trusted. According to this, they can't be trusted. Well, then how can we trust anybody on the e-board? Because they've been allowed to be there. They were put there. But now you're telling me I can't trust him? Ron Almaraz has been in office for years. The only newest one is Kenny Rodriguez. He's the newest one since January. He's been in there almost, I think, since K-Mac's been in office. Ryan Baugh has been in there for years. Now you're telling me they can't be trusted, but they're still on the executive board. This is very disturbing to the members when you put something out that tells me that my own trustees that are sitting on my board cannot be trusted. Then how much of my board am I supposed to trust when I can't trust these part of my boards and I'm being told by my own board that I can't trust my board? That's insane. That's insane. That doesn't make any sense. It's insane.
Okay. So, I'm assuming that this flyer is what they're talking about when they say misappropriation of funds.
Yes, this is the flyer about Bob Pathanoff. This is the business agent who's in Washington that is collecting a full-time salary?
I don't know, Bob. But that's okay. I don't have to know him. I know that my executive board, all of those 7 people that we talked about in our last show, I know that they have approved, voted for, and given him what he has. I know during COVID, apparently, he was allowed to go home to Washington to conduct his affairs online, by phone, via Zoom. Which I guess, how can I object to that when we have our membership meetings by Zoom? How can I object? How can I say that that's misappropriation? If it's been authorized.
Well, because he's a business agent, he's supposed to be in the barn. We were in the barn. Even during COVID, we were in the barn.
Time out. When do you see your business agent?
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but if seeing them is a caveat for being a paid business agent, then none of them should be paid.
Okay, well, that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. Now you're talking about accountability of how many hours a day in a week and how many days in a week our BAs should be in our barns, please.
Let us not go there in this session. But we've authorized it. Somebody has authorized it. They're talking about the use of his vehicle, the gas card. Now, from what I read I looked up the definition of misappropriation of funds.
Yes.
Misappropriation of funds means the intentional, illegal use of the funds of another person for one's own use or other unauthorized purpose. I can't throw this into that bucket. Doesn't fit, in my opinion.
Well, I think the reason, just defending the flyer, I think that the reason why they feel like it's misappropriation of funds is because he's being paid as a business agent to represent the members at YRC, and he's not there. He's not representing them. He's living in Washington. And if he was, I think that they'd be able to swallow it a little more if he was doing what Dave Naylor did when Dave Naylor was the feeder business agent for UPS, and he was taking a part-time salary and didn't have the vehicle and didn't have all that other stuff, but he was part-time because Naylor was living in Oregon, and he would come down, and we knew he was only going to be coming down a little bit because he was part-time, but he's still taking the full salary with the credit card, with the automobile, with everything, but he's not here. He's in Washington, and I think that's where the problem comes in.
Okay, we're going to have to agree to disagree here, because I don't think it falls into the misappropriation of funds. But if that's all they have under misappropriation of funds, is that all there is? Misappropriation of funds? Is that all the books are telling you? Is that Bob Pathenroth up in Washington is collecting a salary and using a truck?
Well, see, and I guess this is the big question that we have for the Alonzo Villegas slate is how are you defining misappropriation? Because it's obviously not how Christine is defining misappropriation. So we need to know how the trustees are defining misappropriation. And we also need to know what other misappropriations are you finding aside from Bob Pathenroth? And then I believe that Christine found out something interesting inside where the trustees, inside the bylaws, were in regards to the trustees.
It says, in the event that a trustee declines to sign the books, the trustee must state in writing to the local union secretary-treasurer his reasons for declining to do so, and shall also advise the general secretary-treasurer of those reasons. A trustee's disagreement with an expenditure properly authorized by the executive board or membership shall not be a valid basis for refusing to sign the books. they have to sign the books. As long as, I guess, my understanding is the bank balance matches what it should be from in May we had this much money, in June we have this much money, and here's the list of our expenditures.
And yeah.
Then, if it all equals out, I guess you have to sign it. But
even if you find something you dispute as a trustee, you still have to sign that book. But what you can do is you can write a letter of what you find a discrepancy as, and you write what you find as a discrepancy. You write a letter to Randy K-Mac, and you inform him of what your discrepancy is. But those discrepancies are not a reason to not sign the books. So when the K-Mac Stewart slate say that they signed off on everything, well, of course they did. They had to per the bylaws. However, our question to the trustees are, well, one, back to what is your definition of misappropriation? 2, did you write the letters? And how many letters did you write to Randy K-Mac? And 3, what were those letters? What are the other misappropriations? Because we as members have the right to know. All the members of 63, we have the right to know what is all of the misappropriations that's going on with the monies in our local. What is actually happening to the books inside of our local? So we want to know all the misappropriations that are going on. We want to know everything that's going on.
That's a serious accusation, so you should have some form of...
It's a very serious accusation. There's a whole lot that can come from this, and that's a whole nother show of what can actually come from these accusations.
Okay. This is just throwing Sam under the bus.
Well, yeah, but, it's interesting because it does go to some of the stuff that the local has said,
Yes. The members at UPS are at the top of the food chain. What do they have to bitch about? That is a quote from Sam Stewart, I guess. That's not one that I have heard.
I have never heard Sam say that. We have heard business agents tell us that you should be lucky you have a job.
Yes.
So we have heard them, tell us that
thankful. I should be
thankful we have a job. And
that I have a job that I go to every day and go to work in.
We'll know how you vote. That's going to be another show. We're going to show that they will never know how you vote. We're going to take care of that in another show.
Okay, this flyer about strike funds, and you should prepare yourself. Build a war chest for emergencies. Put aside between 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. I'm sorry, but even my pay as a full-time shifter, I couldn't put away 3 to 6 months worth of expenses with gas at $6 an hour.
I couldn't.
$6 a gallon. I have kids. You have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, older kids, but
they're all still living with mom. I have grandbaby, and yeah.
I mean, I have kids. It's not something I would say to anybody. I would encourage them to try to save as much as they possibly can. Make sure my credit is in order.
I think we need to start. We're going to start educating you guys on the upcoming contract and what the steps moving up to the contract and negotiating and proposals and stuff like that before we start jumping into striking.
And why would I tell somebody this and scare them?
We got a long ways to go before we get there. This one is interesting. There's no... K-Mac's been a Teamster for 30 years. K-Mac's ran the local for... Teamster for 40. Ran the local for 30. Doesn't have a female BA or a female E-board member. Well, I know he doesn't have a female e-board member. He used to have a female business agent.
She was fun.
She was fun.
She was fun.
Debbie Burrows. She was fun. Yeah.
Okay.
She fought for her members, and she fought with us. Yeah. She was a pistol.
Okay, this is my last one, and I think
drum roll.
I think I saved the best for last. Ta-da! This one says, more members voted no on the ratification of contract, but it was still shoved down the members' throats. Where was Randy and Sam? Now, I have to, in defense of Randy and Sam, tell you that during the last convention, Rosemary and I were delegates, and our vote to change that part of the Constitution at the IBT level, because of the 2/3 rule that was in the Constitution that we changed, is no longer in the Constitution, was completely out of Randy and Sam's hands. Now, did they tell their people to come and say that this was a good contract and yes, you should vote yes? And was there threatening and bullying, as this says? Well,
yeah,
maybe
a little bit,
maybe, but it didn't stop at Randy's desk. It wasn't his yay or nay.
No, Dennis Taylor and Hoffa were the ones that forced the contract on us. They actually were, within 5 minutes after we voted no, Dennis Taylor pushed it on us under the 2/3 rule.
So it wasn't Randy and Sam. And I don't defend the 2018 contract. I don't. But it wasn't their fault. And we as members should be stepping up to vote more. We should have more members voting. How many members voted out of the 1.3 million, or I don't even remember anymore.
No, that's the IBT election. I think it's like 250,000 UPSers, and we're lucky if we can get 10%.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It's really sad.
It's really bad.
And I understand. Part-timers will look at you and say, it doesn't bother me, doesn't affect me.
I'm not going to be here.
I'm not going to be. I think I probably said that once or twice.
And then 5 years later, they're still there. And then 10 years later, they're still there. And
20 years later,
we're still there. You know who you are.
So I think that, when we talk to you part-timers, you don't understand. You are 60% of the company. 60%. If every part-timer stepped up, they would rule this thing.
Yep.
They would rule it.
Yep.
But they don't.
Nope.
And it's sad. And I don't know how to encourage you any more than I do when I talk to you. But voting is important. Please take the time to vote. I don't care how you vote. I may not approve of your decision. That's your right. That's your democratic right to vote however you choose. But you should vote. Voting counts.
Yep.
And then the last thing I want to address on this same flyer is the $3 that was taken away from our part-timers. I get it. They're upset. I get it. It didn't affect me. I was out on the line with them, walking in the line with them. You were out there walking with
the
us.
part-time rally. Yeah.
But that had nothing to do with Randy and Sam. That was in the contract.
The MRA.
That was in the contract.
Yep.
And we knew, as members, well, let me rephrase that. As informed members,
yeah,
we knew that the MRA was going to end in September. And then they pushed it to the end of peak in January.
Yep.
We knew it was coming to an end. So for anybody to say that they didn't know, I'm not quite sure how that works.
I'm not either.
I do understand, it is my understanding, that they're taking grievance process for this, but it's in the contract.
Yep.
Although there are a lot of things in the contract, seniority and other things that we don't enforce anyway, so
yeah,
let us not go there.
triple time on working grievances.
Oh.
Paid it a fourth.
Yeah, let's not argue that one right now. So anyways, I think our message for the day. Read your bylaws. Rosemary and I have been reading them.
Get a contract.
We read them over and over. And I learned something new that I missed or forgot. I'd look at her and I was like, do you remember this? I don't remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing. Remember what we were talking about? Okay. And it just turns into one of them stupid conversations that we have. But read your bylaws. If you don't have a hard copy, go online and get them. You can go online and get them. Department of Labor. I believe we posted that link for you before.
It's on our Facebook page.
Okay. So we are giving you the tools to find the information. Ask questions, find the answers if nobody will give them to you.
Absolutely. Yep. No, I totally agree. And just the part-timers are absolutely, you guys all have the largest voice and the most powerful vote, and you just need to use it, and it would make a huge difference for you guys moving forward. And so the part-timers in 63 that are getting the $75, they upped it to $115 a week. And
Perfect attendance.
And yeah, unless you get one layoff day.
One layoff day. Who gets a layoff day?
That's the new deal. Is one layoff. I don't know, but that's what they're doing. So this is all the MRA, and the way to end that, honestly, is to you guys need to be fighting for higher wages, but it's your voice that's going to change that.
But these flyers just divide us, and we should all be coming together to fight for your wages, to fight for everybody as a membership, as a brotherhood. We need to fight for each other.
And you need to be asking both of these slates what you want in your local. You need to be asking yourself what you want for your leadership, what you want from your BAs, what you want from your shop stewards, what you want in your barn. And you need to be thinking about those questions, and then you need to be asking the guys that are running for local office, because they're going to be your leaders for the next 3 years. So what do you want from them? And then you need to ask them, because none of those answers are in any of these flyers that we just showed you. And those are the answers that you need to have so that you can make an educated vote on who's going to be leading your local for the next 3 years, because that matters, because that's your future. And if these aren't the right leaders, then you're not going to have the right future. And that's the most important thing that we can tell you. This is about a brotherhood, and it's about having the right leaders to lead you through that brotherhood. So
I think we should end it there.
I think we're good.
I think so.
All right.
We good?
We're good.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word. And I don't break them for no one. You understand?
You understand?
You want to answer?
Oh! Bye!